Good morning. My name is Rob Palmer. I'm of the Potts Law firm out of Houston, Texas, though my personal offices are here in Springfield, Missouri. This is another continuing episode in our discussion of crashworthiness. Crashworthiness is a theory of cases involving enhanced injuries due to defects in vehicles, either defects that make the injuries much worse, or in fact cause the underlying injuries themselves. What we're going to focus on today is what's called crash avoidance technology. And we're going to be looking at one particular technology that is causing a lot of accidents and could provide the basis for a number of cases. In particular, we're all familiar with this technology now in the newer vehicles. We've seen various aspects and different modalities of this technology. For instance, almost everybody has electronic stability control on their vehicles now. In fact, I think it's standard in all new vehicles. And what this electronic stability control does is when you're going around a curve, it keeps you from spinning out. For instance, as you can see in these two diagrams, if you cut the curve too wide, it'll pull you back in. If you cut it too narrow, it'll pull you back out. National Highway and Traffic Safety Administration has actually estimated that ESC has actually saved more lives than seatbelts, which is saying a lot. But this is a wonderful technology and probably the reason why we've seen a dramatic drop in deaths in vehicular, especially single car accidents. Another type of CAT technology is blind spot monitoring. Basically, this allows the car to see other vehicles that are in your blind spot. And it typically will tip you off with a vibration of your steering wheel, or in your side rearview mirror, a light will flash, which is very, very common. Now, there may be cases involving ESC or blind spot monitoring, but that's not really what we're going to be focusing on today. You're all familiar with your backup cameras and alarms. Even as 10 years ago, there used to be alarms, which used a radar sensor in the back of your vehicle. When you would back up, it would sense a bicycle or a child or whatever behind you. Now, many vehicles actually have cameras. And as a result of this backup warning technology, the number of child deaths in particular from being rolled over by vehicles has dropped significantly. This is a very excellent technology. Another CAT technology is cross traffic alert or turn assist. And basically, as shown in this short little clip here to the side, it detects something that you can't see to your side. More importantly, which we can't really show here, is if you're going under 13, 14, 15 miles an hour, it will detect if a car is like running a stop sign to your left or right, and will bring your vehicle to a stop and warn you that that's about ready to happen. If you're going over 15, it won't do that. But this technology is just now coming in with newer cars and is a great technology to help avoid accidents, especially in left turns. Now, another technology, what many of you are familiar with, is lane departure warnings. And basically, this is a technology that senses when you're on the highway, if you start to drift out of your lane without using your turn signal. And when you do this, it will vibrate the steering wheel. Sometimes it'll pull on the seatbelt to kind of awaken you to get back in your lane. If in the more advanced versions, it will actually redirect your car back into the lane if you haven't used your turn signal. Now, as I mentioned, there can be potentially cases with each of these systems, which we can talk about in a later episode. But today, I want to focus on automatic emergency braking and forward collision warning systems. To me, these systems have the potential of preventing almost all serious injuries in rear-end accidents. Unfortunately, even though this technology has been around for way over a decade, many cars today still don't have it. I understand that over 75% of Chrysler vehicles still do not have this technology. In some lines of vehicles, only if you get the top line and pay a couple $1,000s extra, can you get this technology, even though it only costs the manufacturers a couple $100 to put this system in your vehicle. And what it does, it alerts you if there's something stopped or slowed in your lane of travel. Now, here's a really good videotape from the Institute for Highway Safety, and it really tells us what this system does. Just take a moment.
Traffic in front of a vehicle and warn the driver of a potential collision. Sensors determine the distance and relative speed between vehicles. If the system thinks a collision may occur, it warns the driver, usually with an audible alert, which may be accompanied by a visual alert on the instrument panel or on the windshield. Some warnings may produce a physical sensation, like tugging on the safety belt or pulsing the brakes. Most systems also pre-charge the brakes to maximize their effect if the driver responds to the warning. If the driver doesn't brake or steer to avoid a collision, some systems may close the windows, tighten the safety belts, or adjust the seats and head restraints to reduce injuries. Some systems automatically brake the vehicle to mitigate the severity of a crash or prevent it altogether.
Now, these newer systems do actually brake, as shown in that last segment there, not just provide a warning. Here's a good video showing just the warning. Obviously, it's hoped that the driver would regain control and stop before the actual impact. Now, this technology has been available since at least 2013 as standard in European semi-tractor trailer trucks. That's a Volvo, but the Waymo systems and other systems can do the same thing. And in fact, many semi-tractor trailer companies here in the United States are now putting these on as aftermarket. It's not just for stopped vehicles, but also vehicles that are going slow, such as in this case. This technology can save thousands of lives. It also warns the driver of the semi-tractor trailer truck to stop. As I said, this has been standard in Europe since 2013. This system, forward warning, collision, forward braking, emergency braking, also works with people who are on bicycles, motorcycles, and even pedestrians, as is noted in this particular video. Now, unfortunately, there's a whole line of vehicles out there that advertise that they're almost autonomous, like robot cars. Tesla calls it autopilot, which gives people a false sense of security. The vehicle can actually drive itself in all circumstances. The technology is not ready for that. And there have been a number of accidents in Teslas and other vehicles where people, drivers in particular, relinquish control to the vehicle, and the vehicle gets in an accident which could have been prevented if the driver was actually driving the vehicle. Here's a classic example from China with a Tesla. Unfortunately, the driver of this vehicle died in this particular accident as he ran into this stopped semi-tractor trailer truck. And here is a video here in the United States of someone sound asleep behind the wheel of a Tesla, letting the Tesla drive. Now, this particular case did not involve an accident, as they were eventually pulled over by a highway patrolman who gave them, of course, a ticket. But this could have been disastrous, not only for the driver of this vehicle, but for others on the road. Now, that, of course, can open up a whole category of potential cases. Another area of cases is where the system is installed on a particular line of vehicles, but it does not work properly. And here's a classic example on a Volvo. You can see where this is a production vehicle. And watch what happens when they try to demonstrate it. Obviously, the gentleman in that photograph, that video, was hurt rather significantly as a result of that demonstration. So not only do you have the potential theories of failure to install these systems, but some of these systems are much better than others and can still cause accidents and injuries because they aren't properly tuned or properly installed. Now, what are we looking for? With this particular technology, forward warning, collision, or emergency braking, we're looking for rear end accidents in 2014 or newer model years. Now, there are some vehicles that are model years before 2014, but to be safe, it's better to be looking at 2014 and newer model years. And then you need to have serious to fatal injuries, which you see in rear end accidents. One of the things you can look for in these cases is where folks walk away, for instance, in the front seats, but in the rear seats have catastrophic injuries as a result of being hit from behind by a vehicle that should have stopped. And remember, these systems can reduce the vehicle's speed significantly. So even if there is an accident, it might occur at a much reduced speed and therefore not cause injuries. Now, if you do think you have a case, preserve the vehicles, and not just the vehicle that gets hit, but also what we call the bullet vehicle. In other words, a vehicle that runs into the slower vehicle or the stopped vehicle, or runs into the pedestrian or the person on the bicycle. Preserve that vehicle, those vehicles. Do not settle with folks who just might have been involved in the accident, because you may force the case into federal court, and these cases are not as good in federal court. So don't take the easy settlement. Do take numerous photographs of all the vehicles involved, and in particular, all sides of the vehicle, inside the vehicle where the people who were hurt were seated. And then definitely call us here at the Potts Law Firm so that we can assist you with the case. It's very important, of course, you do all this before the statute runs. It goes without saying that in crash worthiness cases, they're much better the quicker you can get to them, because evidence has a chance to get away from you or degrade, and it can hurt the case. Well, that's our discussion of the emergency braking system and forward warning collision systems. Keep your eye out for these cases, as they can be really good cases. Thank you.